Hey, it's Graydon here. Anybody else here? Oh, are we gonna add Shay in?
She's gonna come in.
Huh?
She's gonna come in. She has to request it.
Okay. Perfect. Hey. I don't see anybody else. Oh, view request. There we go. Okay. Coming soon. Hey, everybody. So great to see you. There you are.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi. I'm good, thank you. I some technical delays on our end. Nothing like rain and construction and traffic in Toronto.
I'm from Mississauga originally, so I understand.
Yeah, you've definitely landed in a better place.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm just so glad we're doing this today.
Yeah, me too.
Really
And
good.
thank you so much for asking me, and I'm super excited.
Yeah. Well, how would you like to kick things off?
So I would like to start with a land acknowledgement. I think it's always important, but especially
Absolutely.
in this time. So I don't have it memorized, but I would like to acknowledge that this event is taking place on the traditional territory of Turtle Island, where the indigenous people have roamed, and I have settled here. We are thankful to share in the special spirit of this place, rich in the energy of Mother Earth and our ancestors with the love of all creation.
That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to read as well.
Okay.
And put my reading glasses on. Uno momento. See, okay. Just want to ground myself first. I acknowledge that I am on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, which is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples.
Amazing. Yeah, I think especially when talking about pride, which we've gathered here for, diversity is a part of our rainbow. And so when we're going to talk about that, it's so important to acknowledge where we have settled, because although I have been here for many generations, this is not my native land. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's really important. Thank you for joining me in this.
Yeah, actually, I'm just going to ask a question to my colleague. Hey, Pedro, sorry to bother you. Can we put this iPad up just a little higher, just because my head is getting cut off? That's better. Oh, that's so much better. I can even a tiny bit more. Is that possible? Okay, good. Is that okay?
Yeah, I was just gonna say in advance, I have a 7.5-month-old, so if you hear a baby in the background, sorry in advance.
Well, I hope we see him.
Maybe I'll get my wife to bring him in at the end.
Would you?
Yeah.
I've seen the photos.
Do you want me to get him now?
Yeah. Can you make it? This is a great way, actually, to kick off the whole conversation.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Katie, can you bring Zach in here for a sec? So.
He's just a little delicious, huh?
Yeah, he's pretty cute.
See.
Hi.
Oh.
Say hi.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
I just want to oh, he's so happy and not afraid of the camera at all.
No.
Wow. Is he used to this? Is he?
Oh yeah. I am that mom. You know.
Yeah.
I see a million photos.
Well, lucky him. I didn't get a lot of those photos back in the day. Well, it's great to see him sort of quasi in person.
Yes, I'm gonna pass him back to Katie.
Yeah.
Okay, bye, baby.
So you're 7.5 months. Like he's pretty raring to go.
Oh, he's crawling. He's trying to talk. We're working on mama. I have a feeling his first word's going to be maybe a curse word.
Oh, really?
But you know, he's doing great, and yeah, I knew that everybody's like it's a lot of energy, but like you just can't be prepared for it.
Yeah, just beyond. Yeah.
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 But no, I love being a mom, and I feel very blessed to be able to be a mom and be in this world where you know, I'm married to a woman and I have a baby, and nobody really bats an eye. They're like, you're not, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that really, it truly warms my heart to hear that, because even a few years ago, it might not have been so easy. And I think that also, that really says a lot about you and just how grounded you are and your vision and the connection to your wife, and just being like, yeah, we've got this. There's just so much, you know, negative and just frenetic energy that I think are preventing or have prevented some people in the past. So, yeah,
Well,
just
actually, it's really interesting. When I moved here, because my wife was born and raised in Collingwood, and when I moved here, even 8.5 years ago, the town wasn't as open. And but like I said earlier, I grew up in Mississauga. So I was always around diversity and stuff. You know, none of my friends looked like me. We were all different backgrounds.
yeah,
And so when I came here, I'd been out for so long, and I was like, I'm not going into any closet. So you're just gonna have to deal with me.
yeah.
But to our surprise, the town really rallied behind us, and then because I have a business in town, I knew a lot of the community already, and I'd been working here obviously since I lived here. And they were, when we announced our pregnancy, the outpouring of love was insane, just insane. And we, you know, we were, when you are a couple that's a little different, you're kind of like, oh, is this gonna be okay?
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah. But no, it was insane. And then every time I would walk down the street after that, people would be like, oh, you're so
Yeah.
you know, so it was good. And then everybody thinks that they're Zeph's mom, not just us. So he's got like 500 mothers.
You really do have the village, like raising the child.
Yes,
which is so helpful to have that support. Yeah. Well, trailblazers. Did I say, I didn't say that right? Trailblazers. Sometimes
I got where you were going.
Articulate my words. Definitely not enough coffee yet today. Good. Well, that would create impactful change.
Yeah, I think
in the whole area.
Yeah, this year it's really wonderful because we're having our first virtual Pride, but we've come so far. Last week we had a rainbow crosswalk painted.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful place, and we actually do safe space training here, so sensitivity training, and yeah, it's just come so far, and I'm so proud of where I am from now. So yeah.
Well, it's a meaningful conversation to me on many personal levels as well. We can get into that later, but yeah. So I find your story really inspiring, and I wonder if this is the screen keeps blacking out, so that's why I'm reaching for it to touch it.
No worries.
There may or may not be a connection, but I'd love to hear more about your story, about not just your personal story, which is a fascinating, amazing, uplifting story, but then how does that connect to the incredible store that you have launched in your true love of green beauty, clean beauty, beauty, whatever really you want to call it, because there are many at the moment. Like, how have those narratives in your life?
So
did I freeze? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now. So it's actually, the store was kind of like just a natural progression. But the way it started was very I never, if you would have told me 6 years ago that I'd be a business owner, I would have laughed at you. That wasn't my thing. I went to school for acting. I also went to school for horticulture, so plants. So I do know a lot about botanicals, and I'm a licensed makeup artist. So I mean, I had the little bits.
Really diverse.
Yeah, I love education. I love learning. And I find that even though I didn't pursue my passion for acting, I find that my ability to have like creativity and everything really actually helps in business. So
Yeah.
but the way I got into green beauty, me and my wife, because we're in love with plants, we've always been pretty eco-friendly, eco-conscious. So on our honeymoon, we went to an eco retreat in Guatemala. And we found it so interesting that they didn't give you those like little bottles for the shampoos. They recalled everything, and everything was harvested off their land, and all of they had like beauty products, but they were all like sustainable and made from local places. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is so nice. I was so in love with it. And I sat on the bed in this beautiful hotel room, and I just started sobbing, like just sobbing. And my wife's like, what's happening here? We're on a honeymoon and you are sobbing. And I was like, you know, I just don't feel very fulfilled. Like I have all of these dreams and I don't know where to put them. And I have all these things I want to do. Like I want to help people. But I don't know how to help people. And I had read an article, I think on the plane there, about how different chemicals in makeup, like conventional makeup, can actually trigger PTSD, anxiety, and there's forever chemicals that can be found in your body, like those 24-hour lipsticks or whatever, they can be found in your body forever. And I thought it was really interesting because my mother passed away from bipolar and she was a makeup artist. And so I think while I was sitting there on this bed in Guatemala, all of these things are like swirling in my head, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And like, I need to save the world, and like, how will I do that? And so she's like, listen, why don't you open a store that sells these things, that has like, when somebody walks into the store, everything's safe for them, and they're diverse, because that's always been really important to me, and they're filled with, you know, you don't have to look at the label because the work's been done for you. And it's like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Let's do that. And also the name Shay Organics, obviously my name is Shay.
Yeah.
But we spelt it different because we're primarily female-led business. We carry primarily female-led businesses. So the SHE is underlined in our brand. So I walked into the small business center in Collingwood the day we got back, and I started the business that day. And the first company that I wrote to about Shay Organics was yours.
I'm like, I didn't know that, and I've just got shivers. And
we watched a video on the plane, and you were talking about how you were really frustrated about having to buy different products for yourself and for your son. And I love that. If you go on my website, you will notice there's no men line, because I believe we do skincare for humans. And you said that, and that resonated so much with me. And I was like, I need your products in my store. And so when I pitched the idea to the Small Business Center to help me with a grant to start my business, yours was the company that I pitched with.
Honestly, I'm like holding back the tears here. That's very moving.
Yeah, so it's very full circle. When you guys asked me, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super powerful. I'd love to hear the name of the place that you went to in Guatemala.
So it's called Lake Atitlan. It's a beautiful island, and the eco retreat, that one I don't know.
Okay.
Beautiful. I will get that information.
Okay.
But it was a beautiful place. You had to actually go on and off by boat, and it was so nice. And you go across. But the funniest thing was they have a little bit of land behind the resort, right?
Uh-huh.
And so they show you this map of like this hike you can do because they have their own like coffee stuff and they have their own papaya trees and avocado trees and all this stuff, right? But it looks like it's like just this short little hike that you can do, like maybe 30 minutes. Yeah, 7 hours.
Oh, wow.
7 hours uphill.
Oh, cool. That is great. That is so neat. Yeah.
So me in my fancy little outfit.
Yeah, no, not like. I hope you had some good sneakers on.
No, I absolutely did not. It was such
Okay.
a shock, but it was beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. And then you had 7 hours back, or were you able to like 14 hours of hiking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All
It
right.
was a big day.
I'm sure that there were really good snacks along the way.
There were Mayan ruins, and there were aloe plants that were literally like the size of a building. Like,
Yeah.
it was insane. So cool.
Making memories like that is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a 7.5-month-old, and I have a now 22-year-old, and who's launching his own life, and also really interested in horticulture. He's in bioresource engineering, so he's trying to come up with plant-based solutions for everything, anything about the biome, all of that stuff. But I get so little time with him that I have to almost say, let's go away somewhere. Like, so, we've been to Peru, we've been to a couple of interesting places, but meaningful places where you really do connect with the land. And now, he lives in Montreal. So that's why I'm really interested in what you're talking about. Because the creating memories is probably the most valuable thing that I can do.
Yeah.
In my life, in terms of my one and only child. Yeah.
I think when you enter into parenthood, no matter which way you enter into it, there's like this world that opens up all of a sudden, and you'd heard all of the stories that everybody tells you, like, goes by so fast, there's never enough time, blah blah blah. And you're like, yeah, whatever. And then you enter into this place, and then it's like you just understand other parents when they say those things. And so even though I haven't had as long as of an experience, I can understand, like, even when I'm gone for a couple hours for work, I'm like, oh my God, something happened and I missed it.
Right. I know.
And then
well, you're clearly such a mindful, committed parent, and it took me a while to become more mindful and committed, because I don't think that I went in with the same intentionality as you did, but that's certainly grown and pretty much become the most important part of my life. I think I have two babies. I have Julian, and I have this business, and they're both very important and demand a lot of my time and attention.
Oh yes, definitely do.
Yeah, that is so great. And is your wife involved in the business too, or do you have?
Yeah, so we both co-own it, but my wife also has another business. So we're just entrepreneurship all the way here, and she's a landscaper, and but I am primarily, like, if you message somebody, if you're on the website, anything, that's me.
That's a lot, and you're in the store, and you're doing inventory and spreadsheets and accounting. Not to mention your baby, like, that's pretty huge. Yeah, and you look well rested.
That's my Graydon face glow.
Oh, good. I'm wearing a little myself.
I wear that every day.
Good.
I remember it was funny when I first announced I was pregnant. Somebody's like, "Oh, you're already glowing." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if it's that or the face glow. I don't know."
Right. Oh, that's such a good story. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I've heard about you from so many of friends, high school friends, especially people who ski in the winter, and it is really, it's time for me to come and actually see you in person.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. Yeah, I'm a huge fan, so.
Okay, I just need the invitation. And
Yeah,
set-
well,
and
actually, I was gonna ask you to come up for something that we can discuss later, which might be kind of exciting. But I have to keep mom's word, but kind of like a little enticing
okay,
for our
okay,
fans here and watching.
okay, okay, yeah. Okay, well, I'm already looking forward to the
I
to
think
the
you'll
offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that this is so great that we're talking right now because you know, I just love that your brand stands for so many things. And I love that even since I've had your stuff in the store, your brand's gone through such a transformation and I've been able to watch it. And like the full moon serum, you know, it's just a product, right? But no, for me, like it's something that like I've had such connection over. Like people call it skin crack at my store. I'm sorry, but
Really?
yeah, that's their crack.
Oh.
Like now that I've tried it, I can never stop, and I don't know if I
Oh.
love you or I know something for.
These are things that I just don't know.
Yeah.
So that are really impacting me very meaningfully. I think, you know, I'm admittedly a workaholic, and I see the irony in that I'm really leading a wellness business, and I'm not always the kindest person to myself. And this is what really gives me joy, connecting to real people, which connects me back to part of my story is having taught yoga for so long. And I love, even though I eventually burned out a little bit, like it was a lot of downward dogs. Like, you know, almost 20 years of downward dogs on a daily basis. But it was my connection to real people and the vulnerability and the sharing and the witnessing of health journeys. And it's really how the whole product evolution occurred. Like you, like I never really thought that I would be a business owner. Yes, I taught yoga and that was my love and my work, but it's not quite the same as running a business where you have other people and you that are just so I mean I have an MFA, not an MBA. So learning about business has been challenging, you could say, for me. I gladly finally brought some people who can help me into my life. But I do look back, like, how did I get here again? Like, do you think I could have taken chemistry in school? Maybe, you know, focused a little more on botany. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm all around
No.
digressing.
I love organic conversations and I'm so interested with how like I said, you were such a big part of my journey, and it's interesting because you didn't even know that, but you're impacting people in so many different ways, you know. And people's skin, like this is what they live in, right?
Yeah.
And for something that they use as a ritual, like for me, taking care of my skin is really important to me. I make sure that I put on all of my products every day and I do it really calmly and I have my routine, and that's like, especially right now, that's important time for me. And so what somebody puts on their face every day, and to be the person who made that product that they're going to put on their face every day is such a wonderful journey, and how you've infiltrated so many people's lives in different ways, and not even just in Canada, which you're blowing up, but like across the world. Like some of my friends, we went to go see them in Amsterdam in 2019, and they fell in love with your products, and I have to send them all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
You ship internationally, actually, or just for your friends?
Well, just for my friends. But if somebody wants international, then they can do it. But there's an option on our website. But
is there? Okay.
Yeah. But
that's good to know, because we don't actually ship internationally, and I'd love to be able to say, hey,
yeah,
introduce them to Shay.
Yeah.
So that's good. Shipping and fulfillment is an ongoing challenge on so many levels. Yeah, well, we're still a pretty little business, but we are focused on growth in many different ways, not just the bottom line. But really, I wasn't clear on this when I originally launched the line, but actually the thought of having the opportunity to give people good skin days every day, it really it's not just a slogan or like a mission statement that you would write in a business plan. It's really what my desire is. And I think that people really do have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying we're the only brand that can do it, but I think that we can make it simple, safe, accessible, really pleasurable, and I really would like to touch as many lives as I can on a global basis, because even though this is an obvious thing to say, like our skin and our face and our body is what people see first, and it affects our mental health and our self-esteem. So if we can feel good about the skin we're in, that's for me, like that's the ultimate sort of form of self-care. And if it's okay, I'm just going to ramble a little bit.
Yeah, please do.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So that's even though the product intimacy oil is it's not as well known a product as many of our other products. It's actually a really important product for me on a personal level, and a lot of people think, oh, it's a lube. Okay, whatever. I knew that going in, that people might think that, but I purposely chose the name because I really want people to use it and feel good in their bodies. And the story behind it, which you may or may not know, is that I suffered from eating disorders for many years. I hated putting lotion on my body, and when it came to creating a body oil, I just thought, I don't want just another essential oil infused body oil. I need something that actually helps connect me to my skin, because even years later I have some challenges, because I think when you're dealing with disorders, like it's a daily commitment to wellness, and so I want something to positively, so like a good addiction, and it really ties in. I hope that people enjoy using it as much as I do, and they can literally feel good in the skin that they're in. Which, again, I'm going a little further, and I don't know if you've seen this on social, but we are actually donating $5 per bottle of intimacy oil to support LGBTQS plus. I want to make sure I got that right. Youth, and so we'll do $5 for the month of June, but this will be an ongoing initiative for the next 12 months to come, and I trust ongoing, because I think supporting gay youth. I also want to make sure that I'm appropriately speaking. I honestly get tongue-tied when I say LGBTQ2S plus youth. It's sometimes easier to say gay youth, but
Yeah,
don't want to. My son corrected me the other day, and I don't want to have to pull my foot out of my mouth. But I think that it's such a challenging time to be when you are young and you are just figuring out your own brain and your own body, and not all parents are as mindful as you or myself, and it's a real challenge. So I think that's where, if we're going to support organizations, we have a handful of organizations that we've chosen, mostly in the Toronto area, but as the initiative goes on, we'll add in different ones, and I'm letting the cat out of the bag a little bit early, but I think it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me, and for others, that June isn't just Pride Month. I think a lot of large corporations make a big deal of it and sort of pander to people to get the visibility that they want, but it is largely for material reasons. So we want to do, instead of doing a lot of Instagram lives or forums in June, we're actually going to do them afterwards with a Pride's Not Over campaign.
Awesome.
And maybe you can, also weigh in on that after our call.
I would also like to, for 24 hours, this Saturday, which is
Mhm.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Every Graydon item purchased, I'm going to donate to your charity of choice. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
It's very important to me. I donate to a lot of LGBTQ. I'm not even using the right acronym. So anyway, but I donate to a lot of charities as well. But I think it's so important, and I would be honored to donate with you. So yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much. I'm so emotional today. Like, it's crazy.
I think that crying is such a cathartic thing to do, and it's so important. And you had me. So I've been trained to cry on time and cry not on time from many years of acting training.
Right.
But my wife actually gets so mad at me because I don't cry during TV. But I do feel the emotions.
Good.
But when you were talking about why you made intimacy oil, I actually suffered from an eating disorder for a very long time myself. And so that really resonated with me.
Mm.
And being in my resting body, I'm a very active person and very physical, but I gained weight very rapidly when I was younger, and I lost it very rapidly from an eating disorder, and so I still have loose skin from when I was younger. And then now being postpartum,
Yeah.
I'm wrestling with a whole new thing. So talking about those things is so important, and I love that Pride Month to me isn't really like, yes, it's gay month, but to me it's really just about acceptance and diversity and inclusion. And so when we talk about Pride Month, it's so important to talk about all of the things that were challenging. And this is another thing, because mental illness, like I said, I lost my mom because of mental illness, is such a huge thing, and it definitely plays a huge role in young queer youth. I was lucky enough to have a mother who didn't care. She was so proud of me. In fact, she was walking down the street one day, and I was 16 when I came out to her, and I was 14 when I came out to my friends, but 16 when I came out to my mom. And she saw this woman wearing my daughter's an honor student badge, and she goes,
Yes.
"Oh, your daughter's an honor student?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, mine's a lesbian." And she walks away.
Priceless. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, she was fiery redhead, one of a kind, but she was such an amazing mother. And so when we talk about mental health and all of these things, like, I'm constantly reminded of my mom, but I feel so blessed that she gave me these cards and this voice to be allowed to speak to others, to try to end stigma and just be who I am and live authentically. And that's why I don't let other people, I know we can literally be here one day and not the next. So I don't care what people think of me.
Good. It's really uplifting
Glad.
to hear your story and your openness and how all of this ties together.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
people-
that's definitely full circle.
yeah. My screen keeps blacking out. That's why I keep going over to touch it. You must be wondering about that. But just to share a little bit more about my background, and part of the reason why I find your story so positive is that it's the stigmas and the barriers have changed so dramatically, even over the last 20 odd years or so. So my son was really lucky to grow up with two dads, and that was harder for me and harder for him earlier on when he was younger, and now it's great. There's no such thing as too much love.
Yeah.
But the navigating through that was tricky, especially with an adolescent, and now he's great. But I wish that I had the openness to be able to I think it would just be different if all of that was happening now as opposed to, 15 or 20 years ago. But it is, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think that although my story is different, like I think that when we're confronted with these things that are different, your ability to open up as you have clearly now, that's also wonderful. We're not all given the cards, we're raised certain ways to believe certain things. We're not all given the cards all at once and be like, well, this is love and peace, and so maybe our parents weren't like that, but if you allow yourself to open up over time, that's what's important, because it's the journey, right? It's not the destination, it's the journey that we get here. And so to say, hey, at one point this was harder for me, but now I understand it, and now there's joy there, that's wonderful. And I think too many people hold it, like we all have our moments, right? Especially last year, when Black Lives Matter was very big and George Floyd passed, I've always been an extremely inclusive person. But I learned that there were so many things that I was saying and so many things that we were doing that weren't politically correct. And so we all have to learn. So I just wanted to say, like, give yourself some grace with that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. But whether it's my experience or your experience, which are both different, but the one thing that really has, I've always been very conscious about is when you're raising a child, not to make assumptions about their, various identities that they may or may not have. And I think it's a generalization, but the people that I know who are choosing to be parents, they aren't bringing another person into the world or raising another person. They're not taking it for granted as much as previous generations, and so a lot of these things are not being made, less assumptions are being made, and I really hope that on a really root level, if young children know that they truly can be whatever gender or non-gender they wish, or to love and be with whoever they wish, then that is real change. And hopefully some of the mental health issues and the addictions, the eating disorders and addiction as well, not just drugs and alcohol, that's a really wonderful way to profoundly shift the world. Of course, with a plant-based diet and healthy skincare products as well.
Yeah.
Couldn't resist that plug.
No, but it does really all kind of go into one another, because I think when you're thinking about like a healthier mind, you want to put healthier things in your body, because you know that there's so many toxic chemicals in the world. And yeah, I think it all does kind of blend. Like, I can tell you, once I stopped using chemicals and I changed to green beauty, like I just felt healthier,
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, you're right, it does all tie in.
And it's there's a lot of discussion these days around clean beauty and or not clean beauty, and I always try to be Switzerland. Like, I try not to be like overtly waving the clean beauty or green beauty flag, or I'm not suggesting that other things are terrible and will harm you. I'm just trying to be who I am, and my products, they're a manifestation of who I am as a person. So my personal choices are to eat like 99% predominantly plant-based diet, and that is because I feel better. I have been able to nurture and heal myself from some pretty challenging conditions. There's mental health included with that. Certainly brain health and gut health are really connected. And so for me, it's just natural that I would want my products to be consistent with my own values. And I'm really, I really love superfoods. That was a pivotal moment when I was living in Southern California and LA and Santa Monica, and got involved with the yoga world and started a home food delivery business, and started working with superfoods before superfoods were even called superfoods, and then eventually came back to Toronto, and still this was before Whole Foods and Starbucks, and I know that is dating myself a little bit, and I am a little bit older than you, but it's, so when people question me about, I'm seeing that my colleague Pedro is saying, I have to wrap up in 5 minutes. So, or you can do no, okay. Well, I'll try to be quick, but I just try to, the expression is, remember my grandmother said, just like stick to your knitting. Like I do what I do because I believe in that. I'm not interested in bashing anybody else's brand or ingredient lists or saying we're better. This is Graydon Skincare. It took me a while to actually call it by my name, but this is who I am, and this is what I'm interested in, and I believe that our products and ingredients are powerful and efficacious, and we have a lot of evidence that affirms that as well. But yeah, like I feel like we've both been tying together different aspects of our life, and I tried to write blog posts before, but it's just so complicated. I think I'd need a ghostwriter to do it. But it's all in this neat, tidy box is, well, Graydon Skincare or Shay Organics. We both have different journeys, and there's a lot of similarity as well. And I think that's why we were destined to meet.
Named
and I don't know why I haven't had this conversation with you earlier.
I know. I wish I could give you a hug. I feel like.
Yeah, totally virtual hugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
well,
I again, thank you so much for asking me for this. I've been so excited all week to talk to you. Yeah, I feel honored, and we are going to meet in person. I'm going to make a mission for that. So
thank you. Yeah, and let's do a little offline afterwards.
Yes.
There's more to share.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. Like,
yeah.
I haven't been able to look at comments and names, but I've seen them bubbling up, and just so grateful for your support and love, and for listening and supporting both of us.
Yeah. And I always send everybody love and light before I sign off. So I'm going to send you all love and light.
Love and light.
Okay. All right. Bye for now.
Okay. Bye.